on our quotes dashboard, which you will access by hitting the quotes link. I have mine already up here. Before I start, I will mention that this is not the only way to create a quote in the system. This is probably the most common in the way that I do it. There are other ways to do it, which we will illuminate as we train you around the other sections of the application. For now, let's get started. Let's start over here. On my quotes list page, on the top right, you will see an Add Quote button. So let's go ahead and select that. It's going to take us to our first tab. Real quick, I'm going to look across the top here, and you're going to see all these tabs. At the moment, only one of them is illuminated, and that is because this is required information for any of the others. So let's deal with this first. Let's give our quote a name. And there are many scenarios for creating quotes, whether that's for a new customer or for an existing customer. For this particular one, I'm going to create a new customer so that I can show you how to create a customer on the fly while creating a quote. So let's give our customer a name. And while I'm doing this, notice how as I'm typing over here on the middle and right panels, I see information that pre-populates. If you are typing out a quote for an existing customer, it will allow you to pre-select that information and pre-fill the rest of the page. Again, in this scenario, I'm going to choose to create a new customer. Enter a contact name. Required fields obviously will indicate that within the field itself. As a good measure, though, I usually recommend putting as much information as you can early on. It will just save it down the road from having to do it later. That said, I really recommend at least getting a phone number and an email into this when you're starting. We'll leave that blank for now. Marking as the primary is an option that you have. Within any customer's profile that you create, there's an option for you to have both multiple addresses and multiple contacts. And with those multiple contacts, you have an option of selecting one as primary. Since I'm starting a new customer, I'm going to go ahead and say yes, because this is, at the moment, my only contact. The other option down here allows you to select a customer to add to the customer's profile. What this will do is permanently store this information in the customer's profile. There are instances that may come up in which your primary contact for this quote is not otherwise related to the customer. They might be a free agent or a project manager from a project management firm, in which case I'm going to attach them to the quote, but I'm not going to add them to the customer profile. For this quote, again, let's assume that this contact does work for the customer. And so this information will create the customer's profile as I proceed. I can have a different, let's put my address in. I'm using information that I've entered in here before. I'm going to put Portland, Oregon. But I want to show you here, if you have the address in the city and you don't know the zip code, you can hit this lookup here and it will find the zip code for you. So here's my recipient address. This is who's getting the quote from me. Next to that is my job site address, which can be different. For the sake of time and to show you the feature, I'm going to select that the job site is the same as the recipient address. So I simply select that and it fills it out for me. Let's save this page. Always save when you get to the bottom of each or when you've entered all your information. And you'll see on the right here the item was saved successfully. You'll also see that all of my other tabs are lit up. Inside the quote, as you build your quote, there's a lot of information and a lot of pockets to put information. Your job info and job items. Requirements, which we'll get to when I demonstrate jobs. Opportunities to review and adjust the quote. Documents and files that you want to upload. That could be photos or site plans or drawings or blueprints. Messages and correspondence surrounding it, and then all the activities that have taken place by the various users in the system. I'm going to focus on the ones that apply most directly to the quoting process for this video and show you the others as we work around the system in other sections. Having saved my customer info, I'm going to go to my job info tab. You'll see information has already been carried forward here. These are not required fields, but additional information that you can enter. I do recommend putting a scope of work in here. The scope of work is internal at this point. It's for internal use only, and it's just to have information stored in a common area that describes the quote itself. This comes in handy if you have multiple people, multiple estimators working on the same bid or the same quote. They can come here and get information. So I'll put something in here simple. And I'm going to save this. Again, my green check lets me know that everything was entered properly and received. If you get a red X, it will usually indicate what was missing or that you forgot to fill something out on the page and allow you to finish that page again. So now I've completed my job info. Let's go over to job items now. And this is where we're going to put information that's going to go into the quote and also later into the worker instructions that go out to my contractors. So how you set this up, there's a couple ways to do this. There's not a right or wrong way. Some people like to embed their entire quote within one job item, and some people like to split them up into individual line items. And that's really up to you, and that's up to the type of quote that you're creating. For now, I'm going to create a couple of job items just to show you how that works. So here's a description of my job item. When I come down here, I'm going to say, okay, this will take 4 hours at this billing rate and with 2 people on it. Gives me a total. I can break this out any way that I like. So if I have journeymen and apprentices, or if I have scaled billing rates, I can create individual line items. These don't display on the quote. These are for your use to help you come up with a price for this line item. Let's say that I'm going to have $200 in materials. And notice my math is done for me. Very important down here, you have 2 options. You can write in a total and override what was suggested, or you can simply click on that number and the right number will show up. Notice if you do want to double it or triple it, or if it's a quantity-based item, you can do that here and that will make the adjustment. I'm going to hit save. Again, remembering to save at the bottom of every action. And you'll see over here on my right, my quote is starting to compile itself. So my first item has been entered. All of my job and customer information that was entered is here. And I'm going to write item 2. Okay. And let's say this is going to take 2 hours at this billing rate with 1 person. It's going to be $100 in materials. And again, remember to click on this so that something shows up here, or write your own amount in the bottom here. Let's save that. And you'll see it was saved successfully. And you'll notice now that I also have multiple items in my quote. So I also see, if you see these numbers here, click on those if you want to change the sort order and have one appear before the next. Click on the blue link here if you want to edit one of the job items that you've already created. And I'm going to skip over the requirements and come to that in a different video. I'm going to take you to the Review and Adjust tab. This is going to allow me to see everything that I've put in. Here's my information for my customer. Here are my items. Here's my suggested total. I can adjust it. by putting a new different dollar amount or increasing or decreasing by a percentage here. In this case, I'm just going to keep this dollar amount. And I'm not going to hit update the price. I'm going to go up. I don't really have to save here. This is displaying kind of an are you sure? And then I'm going to show you how this prints and goes into a nice quote for you. Down on the bottom, you'll see that I have print quote. That's a nice link. Go ahead and select that. And it's creating a PDF of my quote for me. And so as you see, here's my quote. With 360, we customize these for you to make sure that they represent the way you want. Any contract language that you want to put in to a company, we include that as well. But you've created a nice professional looking quote that's ready to go to your customer. So I'm going to close this PDF. And then I'm going to show you how to send this to the customer. In this case, there is an email quote link here, but I'm going to show you one that I like to use better. Let's go to messages over here. Again, you can use that other link and that will work just fine. But this allows me to do a little bit more at the same time. Let's create a new message. And I'm going to enter my contact that I'm sending this to. If it's one that you've saved in the system, you can pre-select it like that. You can add more. You can copy employees from the list on there too. And let's put, here's your quote. And any other information that you want. And as you can see, your proposal or your quote here is pre-attached to your message. So select that. I can also add other attachments if I want to send with. And also, in the meantime, had I uploaded any documents or files to my quote folder here, I could also attach them at the same time. And that's why I like to do it this way from the messages tab, is that I can grab any multiple attached documents and send it with my email. Frequently when you send a quote out, you might send a drawing or a site plan or a photograph or something to a company, and this allows you to do all of that at the same time. So again, you can use the other link, but I preferred using the message center here to send my quotes. Okay, and now I'm going to go ahead and send that. And I've now sent my quote off to the customer and stored my message here. So now when I come back to my quotes, let's go back and select this link. And here at the top, now in my list is the quote that I've submitted. Along the right, when we come back for viewing quotes, you're going to see lots of ways to filter so you can find items within a list. And in another video, I'm going to show you how to use the search feature. Thank you for listening. Good luck creating your quotes and enjoy 360E.